finally have found a new Lord Byron. Actually, it's not a new Lord Byron, he's worse. And that is hard to find. Morally, maybe not, but he has some interesting things that we're going to get into. John Donne. I don't know how to pronounce the name to save my life, but he is from England, so I'm assuming it doesn't have an Italian pronunciation, which the name might have one conclude. He was born in secret into a Catholic family during the Protestant being in power, and he was born in England, and he studied in Oxford and Cambridge, but did not graduate because he refused to swear to the crown of the Protestants. He was wild, ambitious, and he was known for his sensual poetry. What does that mean? Of course, later on in life he became a priest. You can't make this shit up. He had a secret marriage to his co-worker's teenage niece and ended up in prison because that was such a secret marriage that he ended up in prison. He had 12 children and she died during the birth of the 12th child. And after her death, he became more religious, which now we can connect the dots a little bit more. He was more introspective and he became more religious. I think death tends to have a tendency to bring people into sharpening their belief systems, because it just shakes all of your belief systems in some way if you have not dealt with the topic or thought of the topic or are very religious to begin with. If you are like him, you used to be a rebel, then came to religion, you used to be wild and now you're tamed or whatever, there's contrast between what you started off life with and how you're not ending life, but what life transformed you into in positive direction, then this might be the writer to write like. We're going to take 3 poems and excerpts and prompts, and then we're also going to take 3 parts from his love letters, because he's also written love letters, which is great material for the love letter prompts. All my letters are thyself, for I write nothing but thy name. The importance of firsts. If this is your first love letter, I think you should talk about it. I think humans love for the first of anything. The first person who's landed on the moon, the first person who invented something, the first person who stamped something, like got to America, even though it's not the first person, but you know what I mean. All of these firsts throughout history, humans have a fascination for. There is very little fascination with the second, like first love, second love, love of your life, different again, because that's the first of something again. But there's a huge fascination and fantasy with firsts. That's undisputed. So if you do have a first by writing them a love letter, I think that's a beautiful thing you should mention. I am so much thy slave that I cannot move without thy leave. What would you do or not do only because of them? What would you do or not do only because of them? What bad habit have you broken? What good habit have you taken up? And I think there is partially, yes, you want to be accepted, you want to be as you are, but I think the beautiful thing with love sometimes is and can be that it changes you for the positive. It forces you to see yourself outside the lens of yourself, and sometimes it changes you for the positive. Sometimes it changes you for the negative, and sometimes you don't have to change at all. Never heard of that, but I'm sure it's possible too. But sometimes it changes you for the positive, and I think highlighting that is so beautiful, especially if it's not like, if they didn't nag you into it, even if they did, maybe that would be nice for them to hear. But if it was just something where they cough every time you smoke, and so you stopped smoking because you didn't want to spend so much time apart, or like these kind of really cute things, or you want it to be healthier for your children, and so you stopped smoking, or like all of these like little strings of positive change. I think that's a beautiful thing that love can do, and should not be forgotten. I think my soul has no other purpose but to love thee. What specific meaning or purpose do they add to your life? And to everyone it might be different. It might have been like you 30 days out of the month or 20 days out of the month, if you have a normal work schedule, you went to work and 2-3 days you didn't feel like working, and now that you're with them, you're motivated, you're like, I'm working for something, or whatever else, if you're more motivated in the gym. I think sometimes it's really sad that we become our best selves when we're single, not all the time, but sometimes. And then we become like that the concept of letting yourself go. And yes, like life happens and it's not to shame anyone by any means. But I think there's something really beautiful about actually like not training for the hypothetical meeting of someone, but training for a specific person you're already in love with. Or training can look in any way, like learning, working out, working, whatever the thing is. But I think that's a really beautiful thing. Anyways, today we're going to keep it short and sweet. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and check out the books that are about to come up. Are you a question or an answer? The fools who think to stand alone with an idea is scary are the same that see comfort in the majority. But if the majority was right, no one would write. No one would think to raise a pencil to each of the new empty papers. Nobody would want to turn paper into pages. Because the peace a writer searches for in a blank page would be found in the world. The discussion of right or wrong is subjective, yet, most of the time, the ideas we love would fade away as quickly as everybody else. We love to be loved, but don't love to be questioned. Yet, wouldn't you rather be a question everybody answers differently than an answer nobody knows? They might never see you, and you might never see them. They might never see you. They might never hear the disappointment in your silence. They might never know the sentences you want to say but don't in fear of sounding like a broken record. They might never see all the insecurities you don't point out to them because you're scared they will stand out to them now too. They might never see the small changes in your pupils when you look at them because they never see your eyes when you don't look at them. They might never see you outside of the context of them. They might never hear the small sighs in the morning when you start another day trying to be better, but being pretty sure you will fail. They will never hear the songs you skip because they make you too emotional. They will never hear all the things you think are so clear, but you never said to them. You might go through life hearing different reviews of the series of books which is your life, none true, but some quite inventative and far-fetched. You might never be seen or heard the way you crave to be. But maybe you will, and that maybe makes it exciting. That small string of maybes might hold you up. It is what makes you go out on yet another date you hate to get dressed, to get to know someone outside of their home, to try to talk. The small maybe is what we live for. The small maybes of life. Maybe I'll run into the love of my life. Maybe the career I love will love me back. Maybe this life is worth another try, she says, with a small but sharp sigh. So quiet that only another maybe could hear it. And maybe someday the two maybes turn their sighs into laughter and their ears into their most used part themselves. Who knows? Maybe. Even horrible things have to start. What's the point of trying if all I do is wrong? He thinks the second part of the sentence, why am I guilty until proven innocent? I am a New York journalist. My birthday is on the 24th of December 1994. I just turned 30. It's Christmas and I'm alone in all the ways a soul can be and a body cannot be. I am 1 meter 95, 58 centimeters. Or in feet, that's 6 feet 5 inches. I know I shouldn't be so exact. And to be honest, I'm not even such a numbers guy. But that's partially how the world has defined me. And since it's one of the few positive traits I get complimented on, I keep it close. Like a lonely woman and her Birkin. I swear I'm not as shallow as I sound, he says to his date, Annabelle, who clearly is just as annoyed at life as he is. They both do the first date angry tango. They both thought at least twice, well, you seem nice. Why are you still single? But what they actually ended up saying was, What do you bring to the table? She says. His date replies, nothing. We are at a restaurant, so last I checked, that's the waiter's job. Then she fell into a laugh so deep you would have thought she was a comedian who just hit a comedic home run. That was the first page and one sentence of the second page of my fiction book. It's called The Great Souls Disconnect. If you also just look up my name, Anna Cobbler, I will put it here how to type it. Also, it's my username. You can check it out on Amazon. It's available on Kindle and hardcover. Look at this cover. I hope you enjoyed those trailers of my books, and if you want to read on, order them on Amazon. Everything is linked in the description, always. And you can also always look it up under my name, Anna Cobbler. Thanks.